Hello, welcome to Conspiracy Cast. Today, it is going to be the three of us.
Please stop.
I thought it was actually pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Do it like a speaking spell.
How about...
Oh.
Read that in your robot voice.
Welcome to this episode of the Conspiracy Cast here on Tales of Earth, a show where we sit down and take a look at and discuss a conspiracy
This is his
or
real voice.
conspiracy related to theories. Then we decide whether or not we believe it and why. We do this live on twitch.tv/eligiblemonster every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. You support us by subscribing to this channel.
Robots, don't laugh. I hate you.
You can also find some Tales of Earth merch on our store, linked below in the description. Or you can go to patreon.com/comicstorian, where you will also get early access to these episodes, as well as other shows from our other channels. Here today, we have Dan the Lizard Man, the Loch Ness Andy, and Gary the Gray. Today, we are continuing with our theme of cryptids.
Thank you, Robot Dan.
That was surprisingly difficult.
I was going to say,
I can imagine that was a lot more difficult than it looked.
do you need a break now?
I'll let you read the next.
That was impressive, actually. Whew. Also, I think we should get a green screen and open this up to like an Illuminati meeting, so we can just check on them. Make sure they're doing
just like
well.
somebody pokes their head in. Like,
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so yeah, today we are going to continue on our theme of cryptids. Now I tried to limit it to Colorado, but Colorado is kind of a boring state
have a
for
whole
cryptids.
stamp.
We have like the mother of all cryptids, though,
Which one?
the rock slide bolter.
Rock slide bolter.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm
Rock
sorry.
slide bolter.
Okay, I need to hear a little bit more about.
Andy, tell them about the rock slide
Rock
bolter.
slide bolter.
the rock slide bolter is apparently a mountain whale. There's
Yeah.
really no other way to describe it.
Okay.
A mountain whale that has hooks in its tail, back fin, and it hooks itself into the mountain and waits for prey to pass, unhooks, slides down the mountain, and eats them.
Busting through trees and rocks with its mouth open to eat passerbys. Passersby? Passerby.
Passersby.
What?
Rock slide bolter.
Yes. That is the rock slide bolter, the single most terrifying cryptid in the universe.
And much
So
like
it's a rock slide, which is also pretty
Rock slide bolter, yeah. Yeah. So, what if there's an actual rock slide of rock slide bolters?
Oh, I figured out where they came
There's like
from.
100
No,
of
no,
them.
I got it. So there was a
What?
rock slide, and somebody
Yeah.
was drunk.
That's
And they were like,
probably...
did you see the whale in the rock
Well,
slide?
yeah, this was mid 1800s
Yeah,
when
that's
the
what
story
I'm
came out.
saying.
So they
Yeah,
were
yeah.
like immigrant Scotsmen.
Right.
Like, first Nessie. And then they find the rock slide bolter.
Hold on, I'm going to...
Must be a male.
Wait, hold on.
Again,
And you ever thought Nessie was bad? In the Colorado, they got whales that fly down the mountain and eat them. All right, that's all I'm going to do today.
That was great. No, I love
That's
this.
good. That's
Yeah,
good.
we need an official. So you know how all of us do voices on Tales of Earth. We'll get to the
Except me.
main topic.
Yeah,
Except you.
technically speaking.
But when you do, you
I
need
do
to
it
do it in
that
your
voice.
Scottish
Yeah, the whole
voice the
time.
whole
I don't know if I
yeah.
can do that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. We wrote you a big enough check. I think you can do it.
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
Maybe if there's
so
enough requests.
the Oxford English Dictionary defines cryptid as an animal whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated, such as the Yeti. So a cryptid could actually be any normal animal that we've maybe seen in passing, but can't actually identify
it, yeah.
or anything. So
it's a UFO of animals.
the UFO.
Well, like I said, I mean, at one
basically,
point,
an
everyone
unidentified
thought-
animal.
Like kangaroos were
Yes,
mythical.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I mean, it's a big thing that hops. Nah.
Yeah,
It's got a
whatever.
pouch that's
Right.
got a MIDI version of it.
I don't
Nah,
believe
nah.
that's a thing.
Cryptozoology, according to the Oxford English Dictionary. So the Oxford English Dictionary is actually the standard for English. So if you go to Urban Dictionary or even Webster's Dictionary, that's all colloquial
Right.
definitions. This is like official English language. So cryptozoology and cryptid are official English words. So cryptozoology is the search for and study of animals whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated, such as the Loch Ness Monster and the Yeti. So we are all, if we want to be, cryptozoologists, because you can't go to school for it. You can't get a degree in it.
Putting it on my application.
And there's no certification. That should go on everybody's application.
Everybody's like,
So,
My resume is going to
Yeah.
go cryptozoologist.
zoologist?
Shut up. We could have just passed over it, but no.
Cryptozoologist.
That's actually when you just you research Dr. Seuss animals.
Yes.
I'm actually a
Yeah.
cryptozoologist.
So can you answer one question for me? How long is the tail of a zong?
Well, where are we saying it's from? Because different types have
Yes.
different lengths.
Yeah, is it from Nanup? I've read quite a bit of Dr.
I
Seuss with my
assume,
daughter.
yeah.
Clearly.
Where the three moons are up? Yeah. Okay, so
I'm actually a kazoologist.
Kazoo. Oh,
I can.
nice.
I know all about different kinds of kazoos.
Sweet, yeah. So I can imagine
Not a whole
somebody
lot of
like
research for that.
working at a zoo is like, why are so many cryptozoologists like applying for this job? Everybody's a cryptozoologist.
Listen, for 3 years I hunted Bigfoot. Not once did I see him.
After
Not
I
once
killed
did I see him,
Hitler.
but he saw you
Several times.
several times.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we're just talking about cryptids, just in general. There's no like theme, and so I found some very interesting reads about cryptids.
I'll decide.
So the struggle with studying cryptids is that you're basically studying an animal or a creature that does not technically exist.
Right.
You're
according
studying
to
an
science.
unstudyable animal.
Right. You're studying all
Well,
of
the
it
most
is-
research
all of
you
it
can do is other people's
Yeah. Word of mouth.
stories,
eyewitness
right?
accounts.
Exactly. So, desiring hard evidence or hard facts for cryptids is impossible. It's a self-contradicting term. Like, well, give me hard facts about cryptids. Doesn't
Because
doesn't
technically,
exist.
once you have them, it's no longer
no longer
a
a
cryptid.
It's no longer cryptid.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah.
animal. Exactly. So, what I found interesting. So, I'm calling this episode Cryptid Palooza
I like it.
because I'm a kid from the '90s
I like
who
it.
can't get past grunge.
And the next one would be Cryptid 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes. Did you know that cryptids get government protection?
I mean,
I
I
did
guess,
not know that.
I guess
That
in
is a
a
real
way
thing.
they would technically be endangered animals.
They are. So this comes from mentalfloss.com, who is an incredible source for scientific facts. 5 creatures that may not exist but get government protection anyway. Written
Can I just say
by-
simply,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
obviously, so those at home obviously cannot see, but the first picture on this page is the surgeon photo of the Loch Ness Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing the story of the elephant walking along, that is exactly what that looks like to me now.
That's exactly what that looks
That's
like.
exactly what it
Yeah,
is to me
yeah. That's
now.
the
I
the
cannot
snout,
not
the
see that.
trunk.
Yeah.
That's
And that
the
would just be
trunk,
like
and
the
that's
top of its head.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to get a picture of an elephant and just
Right,
put them
doing
side
that. Yeah,
by
like
side.
like all I can
like a
see
silhouette,
now.
like a silhouette. Yeah. This is written by Matt Soniak in January 8th, 2008. So a long time ago.
Wow, 11 years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing. Dave Shealy is founder. What's that?
I was 22.
I was 17.
I was 21.
Lord.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
I was. Yeah.
So
I was
cryptids.
looking at back in let's say 2008. I was playing Metal Gear Solid and drinking a lot of coffee and watching YouTube videos on conspiracy theories. So nothing's changed.
I was gonna say, I was like, that sounds like you last week as well.
Yeah,
Weird.
exactly.
My life is
The week
eerily
before.
similar
Really
now.
similar in 11 years.
The only difference is now he teaches his daughter about
That's true.
Oh yeah,
the conspiracies
like
as well.
Eleanor, go over to that footprint. Yeah, that right there. That's a Yeti footprint.
And guess what? Now you're a cryptozoologist.
Now you're
Put it on the
Nux,
resume.
girl. Yeah. Also, my daughter did discover a new cryptid. Yeah, so we were reading a book, and she looked at the crocodiles and defined them as snuggleiles.
Snuggle.
You should call them snuggleiles, a new breed, a new breed of crocodiles that you can snuggle.
I think that would be like a furry crocodile.
I feel
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's all the ones that Steve Irwin found. Because he always snuggled
did
them.
always
He always snuggled them. Yeah. Well, his version of snuggling, which was like tackling and making
Australian
sure they couldn't
snuggling.
bite him. Yeah, Australian snuggling. Yes,
That's my version
That's
of
a real
snuggling.
That's a real sport. Australian snuggling. Dave Shealy is founder of the world's only research center dedicated to the skunk ape, the 7-foot-tall, 450-pound apes that supposedly stroll through Florida, reeking of rotten eggs.
Pretty sure that's just Florida, man.
That's just Florida. I like the way you said that.
Yeah.
Very casually.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's just Florida, man.
Yeah.
He spent much of his life trudging through the Everglades looking for signs of the creatures, and has even gone so far as to call for the state of Florida to pass a law outlawing the hunting of them. Because you can outlaw the hunting of something that may not exist. This guy is nuts, right?
I mean,
no
it'd be
matter.
kind of sad if it was like, hey, Bigfoot exists. I shot him.
I have proof. Where? He's in the back of my truck.
It's like, yeah, that's a skunk ape.
My bad.
That was the last one too. Great. This guy's nuts, right? No matter your answer, he's not the first person to try this with the skunk apes, and certainly not the first person to push for government protection of a cryptid, an animal whose existence can't be proved with scientific certainty. In Florida, the U.S., and even elsewhere in the world, individuals, politicians, and organizations have fought for legal protection for cryptids. Here are 5 times where they've been successful. We should do like a countdown voice for most like YouTube videos.
Right.
Number
5.
There you go. That was perfect. Good robot voice, good announcer voice. Yeah, that's good.
I always like when they do like the deeper one. It's like number 5.
Number 5.
Ooh, it's like the creepy videos. Yeah.
Number 2.
Number 1. Actually, start with
Number 1.
Whitey. That's just what it's called.
Okay.
Whitey.
Okay. I'm sorry. It was too funny. It was too funny.
Whitey.
I pulled a Benny.
A portion of Arkansas's White River between the towns of Jacksonport and Possum Grape is a protected wildlife refuge. The wildlife in question? The White River Monster, a gray aquatic creature roughly the size of a boxcar, affectionately known as Whitey. Whitey was first.
What a terribly unoriginal name.
Where does he
Fair,
swim?
though, I guess
the White River.
Loch Ness is called Nessie, so that's not really.
Yeah, it's not
originally
that
named. But
original,
okay,
yeah.
I'm with you. All right, sorry, keep going.
Whitey was first sighted in 1915 and has been spotted intermittently since then. In 1973, after another sighting, State Senator Robert Harvey introduced a bill that would create the White River Monster Refuge and make it illegal to harm Whitey within its boundaries. The bill was quickly signed into law by a large majority. Wow. Quickly signed into law by a large majority.
Well, that's because they were like, Whitey. Well, okay.
No, it was probably
What
one of
are we
those.
talking about here?
I know, right?
Could be my friend. It's my neighbor,
somebody
actually.
just misunderstood.
We can't kill this guy.
I mean, if you think about it, I'm not surprised it got signed into law because most of them were probably like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's a law now.
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
Right.
like, we're not going to argue about that.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what? It's easier
Or
to just
whatever.
say, sure.
It was also 1915, and you know
They didn't have a whole lot going on back
They
then.
they didn't. So we got the Dust Bowl thing, right, coming up.
And Germany's kind of being a dick.
What else are we gonna do? Well, the world might end, so let's
whatever.
protect the cryptids.
Let's protect this cryptid.
So that was number 1, Whitey, the aquatic life form of some kind.
We need a photo of Whitey.
Nope.
I need to know what this is supposedly looks like. Hold on, I'm gonna look at my phone. Keep going.
Do we have a
Okay.
mirror?
I want to see what like Whitey is supposed to look like. That's not cool. Dude.
All right,
Number 2.
Champ. Most people know about Champ.
Actually, I don't know
you don't know? Okay. So a similar river creature enjoys protection from both Vermont and New York. In the 1980s, the two states passed resolutions. This is in the 1980s. The two states passed resolutions helping Champ, a serpent lake creature that inhabits their shared waterway, Lake Champlain. The resolutions, the resolutions declared Champ a protected species and made it illegal to harm him in any way. How do they know it's a him? Why do we assume every aquatic creature is a him?
The only way to catch him is with a lady champ.
A lady champ.
With a male walrus mating call.
Champ's protected species status also earns him Champ's, this is really interesting here. Champ's protected species status also earns him conservation funding from the Lake Champlain Land Trust.
It's for him, like Champ, not people studying and protecting. him.
Yes,
It's for-
exactly. So we're pouring
to
money
apply.
into
Makes
something.
sense.
Yeah, we're pouring money into something that may not exist.
We just put it in a briefcase and put it in the lake.
Yeah.
Or in the river.
It's
It's just like, here, Champ.
It's definitely not a money laundering scheme.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's for the conservation
Yeah.
of Lake Champ's monster.
So I think we found a loophole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
genius.
just come up with a cryptid, get some money for him.
I mean, we should start a reservation for the rock slide boulder.
I wonder if there is one. I'll Google it.
Yeah.
Champ lovers are patiently waiting for Quebec, which also borders the lake, to pass a similar resolution. Those Canadians, they're going to be the ones to take down Champ.
Crazy Canadians.
All right, Dan.
Number 3.
Bigfoot. Speaking of the Canadians, Mike Lake, a member of the Canadian Mounted Police, petitioned the Canadian Parliament earlier this year, so in 2008, to add Bigfoot to the country's Species at Risk Act alongside the whooping crane and blue whale. According to Mr. Lake, the reason that there haven't been many Bigfoot sightings is that the creature is endangered and not shy like many believe.
I'm sorry. Is it in the same category as a blue whale? Is that what I just heard?
Yes.
Honestly, in my mind, a little bit higher.
A little bit higher. Yeah.
I mean, you can still see blue whales.
The Skamania County Board of Commissioners in the state of Washington realized the same thing Lake did, and of course, and realized the same thing Lake did and passed an ordinance in 1969 that set a $10,000 fine and 5 years in prison for anyone who killed a Bigfoot in the county. So nobody's been fined and nobody's gone to jail for one of these.
Hold on. So their theory is that the reason nobody can find Bigfoot
Correct.
is not because he's elusive.
Right.
It's because he's being hunted to
Right.
endangerment. However, no one has come forward with a Bigfoot body saying, look what I shot.
No.
This is obviously
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
I think there is a slight disconnection
Yes.
between reality
Tiny
and
bit.
the logical consistency here is left wanting.
Actually, for all we know, there's been 3 Bigfoots killed. The thing is, they showed up and they're like, oh, it's a bear. I don't want to pay $10,000.
Yeah.
It's a bear.
They just look
It's
at
a
the
bear, I
they-
promise.
Yeah, they look
The
at
guy's
the
like, I don't know, it's a weird looking bear. No, he had like a thing. It was
Right.
totally
yeah. What did you shoot?
It's a bear.
But it's got big feet that actually don't. I shaved them.
Yeah.
It's actually a prosthetic.
Yeah. Like this
I've
just
been
happens
practicing.
all the time.
all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
All the time.
People just they think they're getting really like ugly bears. That's
Yeah,
what they keep
ugly
thinking they
bears.
shoot.
Yeah. All right.
Can I
Dan?
do this one?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're on
4.
4. Okay.
Number 4.
The cryptid protection trend isn't limited to North America. Plenty of countries have their own legendary creatures and their own laws protecting them. The Maigoi is the Bhutanese version of the Yeti, but with a few more quirks. The red-haired creature reportedly stands 8 feet tall and often walks backwards or turns invisible to full trackers and hunters. They've been part of the country's legends for centuries and even show up in ancient Bhutanese and Tibetan texts.
It
be terrifying.
Invisible. Could you imagine just like walking along and you're like, oh, and just out of nowhere, this just Bigfoot, 8 foot tall thing just appears in front of you?
Walking backwards so he doesn't see you. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
Whoomp. Turns out I'm hunting the predator and I was unaware.
Yes. What I actually find, besides the rock slide bolter, that American cryptids are fairly tame compared to some of the other stories around the
They're
world.
very
yeah.
polite.
They're very polite.
They're like,
yeah.
oh, you're doing stuff over there. I'll stay over here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I won't get in your
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, you might not want to take a picture of me though. I have blurry camouflage.
In 2001, the Bhutanese government created this Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary, a 253 square mile protected habitat for the Maigoi. What? Yeah, 253 square miles protected habitat for the Maigoi.
See, that actually sounds like
Mogwai.
that sounds like a brilliant excuse of going, you know what? We need to preserve this
Yeah,
area.
yeah, honestly.
Oh,
Yes.
There's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't hunt him.
He's a Bigfoot.
Don't go there.
The
He
sanctuary.
walks backwards.
He's
and gets
invisible.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
He can see
You
your
can't
heat
track if he
signature.
walks backwards. Yeah. The sanctuary is also home to pandas, snow leopards, and tigers. But in a display of big government spending at its best, the Bhutanese maintain that the refuge was created specifically for the Maigoi, and cuddly pandas are simply a bonus.
There are endangered pandas, and they're like, oh, we can't get funding to protect these. Bigfoot.
I feel like that's more of like I guess not a tourist thing because you obviously don't want tourists coming into your protected
Right.
sanctuary, but maybe for more of like a marketing thing. Like, look at this we have in Tibet. It's like a predator but furry.
We're protecting. It's like a predator but furry.
I don't know.
It's actually a predator that's into furries.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
its
that's
its fursona. That's the predator's fursona.
I don't
Just so
like
you
that.
guys know.
Hey,
It's weird.
I think predator has a soft side.
It's its fursona. That's the soft side.
Yeah. His fursona. That's
Yeah.
a real term. Yeah.
That actually is a real
Yeah.
term.
I can imagine like the predator just having like an existential like crisis. He's like, "Rah!" And then he just kind of stops and he like sits down. He's like, I just don't know if I want to do this anymore.
I feel like Predator was actually the original person to come up with the song Cellophane. The
Mr. Cellophane. Yeah.
That was
like,
Predator.
I just feel
He was singing
invisible.
alone.
I just feel invisible to
What
you.
is that? Mr. Cellophane. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah.
Genius.
All right, number 5. Who wants to do it?
Number 5.
And here's our big star, the diva of the cryptid world, the Loch Ness Monster. Not only did Nessie get protection from poachers under the provisions of the Scotland's 1981 Wildlife and Countryside Act, which makes it illegal to share, shoot, or try to blow her up. Only the Scottish. But the only girl...
They're actually going dynamite fishing for Nessie.
We're going hunting for Nessie. All right, what are we using? Like nets, harpoons? Nah, dynamite.
It's always the fire department, too.
They're really drunk.
They're really drunk.
The fake female Nessie
What else?
didn't work.
I mean, what else are they going to do? It's a very wet country, so they're like nothing catches on fire. But the old girl helped out one of her distant relatives in the process. In the summer of 1985, the Scots received a request by the Swedish government for guidance on how it should draft formal legal protection for the Storgio monster, the Swedish equivalent of Nessie in Lake Storgio. The Scottish government consulted their Nature Conservancy Council, decided a lake monster would be protected under the 1981 legislation, slapped a protected species sticker on Nessie, and advised the Swedes that
Literally on Nessie?
Literally on Nessie. So the legislative framework to protect the monster is available, provided she or he is identified by scientists whose reputation will carry weight with the British Museum.
Does this actually say she or he, or
Yes,
did you
no,
put that?
it says that.
Nessie is the only one that has the privilege
Yes.
of potentially being.
That's true. I
Two
guess
genders.
we always think of Bigfoot as a dude.
Yeah,
No one's
Yes.
ever like the female Bigfoot,
that's small.
Mrs. Bigfoot.
Mrs. Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Trying to think of whatever.
Misfoot.
Miss
I guess
Foot.
the Jersey Devil. I guess I don't really say.
There's no real
Yeah.
gender for the Jersey Devil. Chupa. There's no real gender there. Yeah.
It's just a creature.
Just
yeah.
yeah.
Very strange.
The
Biggie
Swedish
and Chupa.
Biggie and Chupa. The Adventures of Biggie and Chupa, voiced by well, it can't be Cheech and Chong, but it should be.
It'll be voiced by me and Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Swedish government passed legislation to protect their monster, but it was revoked a few months ago, so 2008, after a government watchdog group challenged the law, claiming legislation was not necessary to protect an unproven species. Nessie is still protected to this day, and no cryptids were harmed during the writing of this article. Well, that's good to know.
Well, that was 11 years ago. Who knows what's
Who
happened?
knows at this point?
Yes, that was 11 years ago.
Well, supposedly next month we will be gaining actual knowledge
Yeah.
of Nessie.
I'm just going to say, of all cryptids, people are not very creative with naming.
No,
No.
it does not seem that way.
Yeah. Except Rockslide Bolter.
Rock slide bolt.
Like,
I came up with a
it
folk
was-
song.
how did
about
you
it.
come up? But then again, how did you come up with a name? It was like a rock slide. It was like bolting toward
Right
us.
at me. Right at me. It was like a rock slide was bolting straight at us.
So, what do we call it? Yeah, rock slide bolter.
Does that mean there's like a
Well, they don't get. They don't
bolter
get.
as well?
Yeah.
That's the Tibetan one.
Oh,
That's, yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
makes sense.
There's the snow type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like Yeti and Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Same.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right.
It's a snow type. It's a snow type. Cryptid. Cryptid mom.
Cryptid mount? Did you say
No,
cryptid
cryptid
mount?
mon.
Cryptid mine.
Cryptid mon.
Nessie, I choose you.
But it's like magic carp.
Oh,
just kind
that's-
of
Yeah,
floats,
that's
flops
not an
there.
actual picture of Bigfoot. Can you imagine Bigfoot being like offended by these like interpretations
just like,
or
"I don't look
renderings?
like that."
I don't look like
Well,
that.
I mean, imagine
don't
he's,
have that many
imagine he
wrinkles.
saw the like what is it, the Jack's Links
Yeah.
jerky
Yeah.
that's like messing with Bigfoot. Like he was just wandering one day and he was like, "What the hell?"
He's like walking by a store window.
Yeah. Is that what they think of me?
Where are
I'm
my
going-
royalties?
I'm going hiding in the woods again.
I'm going.
I'm
Here
gonna
I,
camouflage.
here I thought it was safe to come out. So, all right,
Yeah,
real,
I was gonna reveal myself, but no.
but no.
Asshole.
He's just like grumbling, walking back into the woods.
It's like, son of a-
Like hit somebody's car real quick.
just crushes it.
So, someone walks up. Here's some beef leg jerky.
Yeah. All right, real or not? Imagine you're hiking in the woods. Okay, sorry, I should probably introduce this. This comes from Live Science, Real or Not, the science behind 12 unusual sightings. Ooh. You know what? We'll do a few of these because we're going to go to the ones that we haven't really talked about.
Okay.
Imagine you're hiking in the woods when you hear a twig snap. Whirling around you, you catch a glimpse of something large and hairy. So maybe somebody you hiked with.
Yeah, maybe just
Or a
dude.
bear.
Or a bear. have you
That
just,
would be my first thought
Yeah.
is, man, big hairy thing in the woods. Probably a bear.
Yeah, a bear.
You're not going to stop to take a picture unless you do. In which case,
Unless he's wearing a
Yeah.
hat. Then I'm good because I'm not starting fires. Smokey the Bear.
I know where you went with that.
Yeah.
So the only way you're
Smokey
not
the Bear is
afraid of a
actually the
bear.
civilized Bigfoot. Not many people know that, just so you guys know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's always wearing jeans.
He got a job.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that makes
Good for him. Okay, so probably not. You probably didn't spot Bigfoot. But just because there's no such thing as Sasquatch, as far as we know, doesn't mean there's no science behind some of the reported sightings of beasts that never existed or animals that roamed the earth but have long been extinct. Here are some of the hard-to-believe tales behind the hard-to-believe creatures. Tasmanian tiger, who is not actually a cryptid, but is a very interesting animal.
That looks legit.
Yeah, it is. The Tasmanian
So it's
tigers.
not a cryptid then.
Well, some people think that they still live, but it can't be proven.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like spotting a dinosaur.
So does that technically mean that a dodo bird is a cryptid?
If you can't prove its existence. If you say, like, I saw a dodo bird.
Right.
So anything that went extinct
Yes.
before current...
If there's no proof of
records.
its current existence, then I think it's technically a cryptid, yeah. So the Tasmanian tiger's tail is one of woe. Once Australia's largest carnivorous marsupial, Thylacinus, I'm not even going to try, was hunted to death after European settlers landed on the continent in the 1800s. The last Tasmanian tiger died in a zoo in Hobart, Australia in 1936.
What a horrible place to die.
Yeah.
Should've
And it's a
used his
beautiful creature.
camouflage.
I want one as a pet.
It
Or-
honestly looks like a tiger mixed with a zebra.
Yeah, or like a tiger and a
forbidden
like a
love.
hyena.
Yeah.
Or did it? An extremely long shot search for living Tasmanian tigers kicked up in 2017 after two plausible seeming reports that the animals had been seen in the wild. One observer was an employee of the Queensland Park Service and the other an avid outdoorsman. A few months later, a group of Tasmanian tiger enthusiasts released a video they said showed a living tiger in the wild. However, experts were skeptical that the blurry images showed a real thylacine. If one of the dog-like marsupials is still out there, it hasn't presented proof of life just yet.
Interesting.
So it is possible that the Tasmanian tiger is still alive.
That'd be kind of cool. 'cause
I hope it
looks
is.
awesome.
I hope it is. Bigfoot, we're going to skip. I'm so
Yep.
tired of talking about Bigfoot. Sorry, guys. Yeti, yeah.
If he's
skip.
watching, we're sorry about that, though.
Loch Ness Monster.
Sorry, bud.
Yep. A real unicorn. This one's interesting. Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
Is his horn going the wrong direction?
Yes.
Okay. Just
That's
making
like
sure.
that looks like
An antler. That looks like a single
antelope.
antler.
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. The saula is a species that could be mistaken for a myth, but it's real. Sometimes known as the Asian unicorn, the saula is a creature related to wild cattle that lives in remote areas of Vietnam and Laos. Excuse me. It is seldom seen and was only discovered in 1992. The evidence then? A single skull with a pair of long, straight horns, according to the World Wildlife Fund. In 1999, a couple of saulas were seen on camera traps, proving that they still survived in the wild. The next confirmed sighting wasn't until 2010, when villagers in Laos captured an adult male and brought it into an enclosure in their village. Sadly, the ordeal of captivity killed the saula. But the incident did prove that the animal still survived in the region. There are no saulas in captivity anywhere in the world, and the species is considered critically endangered. It's a very elusive creature.
Right.
Extremely elusive and
It
rare.
looks like one of those ones that just simply looks like a mutation.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Well-
a two-headed snake kind of thing, where
Right,
it happens
right,
very,
right,
very
right.
rarely.
Right.
But it does happen of just an animal that does grow horn or antlers, but just happen to grow one instead of two.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I always like the idea that rhinoceros are just fat unicorns.
Meth. Not even once.
You ever seen that? It's like
No.
a T-shirt. It's like rhinoceros
No.
are just fat unicorns.
I like it.
Mermaids. Given all the weirdness that lurks in the ocean's depths, it's hard to fault early sailors for supposedly sighting half fish, half human mermaids. Some of these sightings persist in modern times, including a spat of sightings in the Israeli beach town of Kiryat Yam in 2009. Nothing ever came of them, despite a $1 million reward. People are pouring a lot of money into cryptids.
I think it's one of those ones where they're just like, hey, we need people knowing about this.
Yeah.
No one's going to ever do it. Let's put a ridiculously high
And
number.
then someone does catch one. They're like,
Yeah. They're like, I need a loan
I
from
never-
the bank. And they're like, what do you
So-
need this for? Someone found a mermaid?
And I
did I give them
Right.
$1 million
Yeah.
for it?
It's like the opposite of why people don't actually hunt Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Or they do hunt it, and they're like, do you know what you just killed?
Right.
Like, do you want a $10,000 fine and 5 years in prison?
No, it's a bear.
No, it's a bear.
There.
A $1 million reward offered to the first person to snap a photo. A mermaid was also one of the sideshow entrepreneur P.T. Barnum's most famous hoaxes. In the 1840s, Barnum exhibited the Fiji mermaid, which was actually the torso and head of an ape sewn to the body of a fish.
Oh, my God.
Gross.
Who gets that job?
Hey, I got a job for you.
I need you to sew these two things
Yeah.
together. Like Barnum's like, so I got this idea. He's like, what do you want? No, don't
worry
bother.
about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I got this fish, this monkey.
And then,
It's like, we're going to display a mermaid. But, sir, mermaids don't exist.
I got an idea.
yeah.
I've got an idea.
There's one guy out there. He's like, oh, my God. People said I was crazy
Or-
for doing
or
this kind of stuff.
They had
Time to shine.
an actual mermaid, and it escaped. He was like, oh, people are going to show up to see a mermaid. What do we do now?
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
No
Oh
one's
my
going to
God.
believe you, Barnum.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to believe
he
you.
He said it free.
He set it
of
free
love.
out of love.
Oh.
Okay.
He said it
so
free after seeing Free Willy, and he was like,
I
gotta let
have
it go.
two theories. So we've been watching a lot of Little Mermaid, so
Sure.
I've had a chance to kind of tear that movie apart.
Of course.
King Triton had the ability to turn his daughter's fin, or like her tail, into legs
legs.
the whole
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Refused to.
Right.
What if
Yes.
humans are actually former mermaids?
And just forgot how to
Just
do it.
forgot.
I could see it.
And what if her and Prince Eric have a child? Is the child going to have a tail? Or is it going to be like one tail and one leg? What's going to happen? The DNA is still there.
They're giving birth, and they're like, it's a baby. What the hell?
Put it in a tank. Put it in a tank.
It's got like gills. And you're going, oh, shit.
Prince Eric's like, that's not mine.
That's not mine.
It's like, well, first you got to put it in a little bag
man.
of water, and you set the bag in there first because you want to make sure the temperature equals out.
You got to be careful.
Yeah, you
a
don't
lot
wanna
of these
kill it.
die within
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
week.
I've had to flush 4 babies.
Oh. Let's cut that out. Wow.
I don't know. I don't like
Okay, so this one is really frightening.
Sorry.
This is actually just as frightening as the rock slide bolter.
Rock slide bolter.
Okay, let's.
Vampire deer.
That
just like the
sounds
name.
awesome.
Yes.
It's a vampire deer. It's like wearing a cape.
Turns into a bat deer.
A bat deer.
It's a bat deer.
Yeah. You see a bunch of little white tails go up in the air, and they all fly
It
off.
wanders in front of a car and stops.
Just floating there. Okay, vampire deer.
And that maybe bats are just vampires that forgot they could transform back.
Genius.
Yes, exactly. Vampire deer. It's a sight straight out of a horror movie. A deer with 2 long, glistening fangs. It's a real thing.
It does.
And this vampire deer is no hoax. The Kashmir musk deer is real, but vanishingly rare. It lives in the Himalayas,
Right.
where every other frightening creature lives, of northern India, Kashmir, and northern Afghanistan, and it is considered endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the IUCN. The lifestyle of these rare deer is all but unknown, according to the IUCN. Villagers occasionally spot them during in scientific surveys, but nothing is known of the animal's habits or lifestyle, except that only the males have fangs. That's scary.
So the female are just deer.
Yeah. Study of the animal has been stymied by violence and unrest in Afghanistan. Researchers wrote in a 2014 paper in the journal Oryx. Okay, that went nowhere.
And they don't
Yeah.
drink.
So,
wine. Oh. Sorry.
deer with fangs. I didn't know that was
So-
a thing. And now you know.
I'm wondering if this is going to be on the list. Would vampires be cryptids?
They are technically cryptids.
Right?
Because as you stated in one of our
Depends
previous...
on the mythology.
Depends on the vampire.
Yeah. Some mythology, they are people. It's it's a virus. It's
it's actually
Right.
a species. It
Yeah.
depends on which mythology.
Because, I
as
mean,
well.
if mermaids are
Right.
cryptids,
Yeah.
some vampires must be.
Yes. Here's another one. Goblin shark.
So
I
that,
have- I
that
have
just
seen-
sounds
I've
like
heard about this
going, a couple bullies just looks like goblin.
Goblin.
Oh, the sharks are just
goblin shark.
making fun of them.
All right. Holding him back by his snout.
Yeah, you can't bite me.
The dense mountain forests of Southeast Asia aren't the only place where the eerie unknown species lurk. For sheer biological mystery, there's no place like the oceans. There are, believe it or not, goblins down there. Goblin sharks, anyway. Heh. But you might rather run into a real goblin. These deep sea sharks are rarely seen because they rarely come close to the surface.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
gonna-
because they're goofy looking.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I'm gonna pause right there. What's interesting about this list is that if you didn't actually consciously know about these creatures, if you didn't know about these animals,
They would.
You
yeah,
would have
you would-
thought
yeah,
that
they
you'd
were
just
some
seen
sort of monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So a lot of it's just education. Like you can't say I saw a deer with like fangs. It was the scariest
You like
thing
go
in
to
the
a local
world.
pub and you're like, I saw a deer with fangs this way. All right, bro,
Yeah,
we'll
wherever.
find
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah, but then you have your like actual educated zoologist who's like, yeah, I believe you.
Right.
Yeah, they're. Yeah,
you've
I've
seen
seen
them.
them.
You've seen the elusive vampire deer.
They're all like 1800s hunters. Yeah.
Yes, I believe you saw the elusive vampire hunter.
Yes.
Let me get my musket so we can go hunt it.
Hello, boys.
Don't worry, we'll just say it's a
Yes.
normal deer so we don't get
like-
fined.
Yes. Why do
I'm
you
just
have
going
to?
to say too many of these
Why do you have to
have
hunt everything?
legit pictures.
No, you hunt it
To
with
make
rock
them
salt so you can
non-cryptid.
well season it.
Dude, too many of these have real pictures, which
Right.
makes
Yes.
them not cryptids.
Correct.
Well, that's the thing is that these are like explaining cryptids.
What if all of these, like, there are actually legitimate pictures and proof, but because that would make it no longer a cryptid, they're like, well, we're not releasing this.
Like there's some sort of cryptid conspiracy out there.
well, like if people
Well, yeah.
go, well, it's an animal.
Well, how else do you think the Illuminati have pets?
That's, oh my
I mean,
gosh.
they have a zoo of cryptids.
They have a cryptid zoo.
Yeah,
Brilliant
cryptid zoo.
idea
Yeah.
for a screenplay.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to call it Cryptid Zoo. That would be amazing.
And it is
Yes.
staffed solely
Yeah.
by cryptid zoologists.
Yeah. So it's like Jurassic Park.
But with cryptids.
Yeah. Cryptid Park.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like going in there.
And it's just Bigfoot.
It's just Bigfoot. No, no.
Nessie swimming in there.
Yeah. So a park
Breaches
full of
the water.
cryptids. What could go wrong? Zombie cryptids.
Oh, man. I would watch that.
Oh,
Zombie
man.
Would
Bigfoot.
zombies be a cryptid?
No.
I don't
Well, maybe.
know.
Well,
Technically
depends
a
on the
zombie.
mythology.
Wait, hold on. So
Technically, a
your
zombie
idea for
could
the
be a
movie
cryptid.
is that we
Yes.
have Cryptid Park,
Yeah.
and then they all get turned into zombies?
Yes.
I actually kind of like it.
Yeah.
Coming this weekend on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yes. All right.
That's just a
UFOs. That's just a building.
That's a grounded
All right.
building for
So we're gonna move on to the next one.
UFOs.
We're going to move on to actual encounters with cryptids.
Ooh.
This is actually a website that was hard to find. That's how you know it's good. And you know it's especially hard to find when the website is literally black.
Yeah, it is.
Then you're getting into some creepy
This is
stuff.
like early
yeah.
90s.
This is like
All
a
right.
GeoCity website.
Ooh.
Yes.
That in itself is a
The website is called chaospirations.net.
All right. I like it.
So
I like the
eyewitnesses
name.
tell their stories of cryptid encounters. NCS case file number 1: large bipedal creature in the woods of North Carolina.
NCS, not NCIS.
Sorry, NCS.
At first I was
totally
like,
threw an
whoa.
eye in there. My eyes just threw.
The Naval
whoa.
Criminal Investigation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I love that show.
This story is submitted by
It was
Leon.
really good on.
Thank you, Leon.
Thanks,
In
Leon.
1973.
Good luck in Raccoon City.
Yes. See, zombies, cryptids.
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
coming
it's all
together.
coming
It's all
together,
coming
yes.
together.
Hand in hand.
All right. This is him speaking here. In 1973, I was 9 years old. I lived on a big pig farm. I got a motorcycle for Christmas, and in 1973, 9 years old, live on a farm. Yeah. I got a motorcycle for Christmas, and in North Carolina, it can be in the 70s in December. My dad always told me not to go down to a certain. Wow, I cannot see. Oh, that's
because
better.
it's all black.
Yeah, it's tough. Okay, my
The
dad
text
always.
itself is a cryptid.
My dad always told me not to go down a certain right way. So as soon as I could, I went down that right way. I don't know what that means. It must be North Carolinian for something.
I mean, I lived there for a very long time, and I don't know that.
Yeah, right way. Yeah, nothing
I
happened.
prefer the wrong way, actually.
So I guess he's
Or
like
the
he's
left way.
going down some path his dad tells him not to go down with his motorcycle.
And he was like, "Screw it. What's the worst?"
That's a
that
great
can
idea.
Right.
Here,
Whatever.
9-year-old son, a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Now don't go that way.
Yeah.
What do you think they're gonna do?
That right way. Don't
Yeah.
go that right way.
Nothing
I know it's
hap- yeah.
confusing.
He's like, "Don't tell me what to do, Dad. I'm a grown up now."
Nothing happened for a few months. Around April, I had gotten used to riding that path, and still nothing strange happened. But at the end of April, beginning of May, I started feeling like something was watching me. I started hearing things in the woods. I started seeing some tree limbs in the path. One day I had went down the path and I stopped at the bottom and I heard something heavy coming through the woods. I looked up and saw a big creature walk across the path. It was on 2 feet and it turned and looked at me and then it was gone.
Like invisible?
Yeah, maybe it's that one thing that turns invisible. The
I
Magoi?
feel like all cryptids
Mogwai?
can just
Magoi?
go invisible to some extent.
telling you.
Whether it's blurry
Yeah, it's
or
just
fully
blurry.
invisible.
Yeah, it's like just a natural camouflage.
Yeah.
I gunned my bike and got out there. I didn't tell anyone about this for 40 years. Really? You're scared
then
to tell this story for 40 years?
And I put it on a website.
That's the kind of thing you tell everybody.
All right.
Like, guys, guess what I just saw? I'm
I
gonna
don't
move
know.
on to
It'd
the
be
next
kinda
one.
like
Yeah,
going,
no
guys.
9-year-old is going to be like, "I'm going to keep this to myself."
Well,
No.
he left out the fact that a couple weeks prior he had introduced his friends to his imaginary friend, and they did not take it well. So he's like, I don't know if I should mention this beast that went invisible.
That's true. That's fair.
That's true. NCS case file number 2, Skunk Ape and Sasquatch in Florida and Michigan. Submitted by Andrew. Well, to begin, I get
was
my
on
Native
vacation.
American blood from my mother's side. Her mother was full-blooded Chippewa, although they didn't talk much about it. So I sought out elders when I was in my early 20s. When I was about 12 years old, my mom and dad got divorced, and we moved to Florida. Great, that's sad. I'm
A lot
sorry.
of backstory.
Where my mother's half sister lived. Great. While visiting my aunt Carolyn, who lived in a little town called Osprey, 15 miles south
I swear
of Sarasota.
these are like online recipes
which
where they
is
give you a
on-
life story
yeah.
before actually giving you the recipe.
It's like 2 pages of a story. You're
Right.
like, shut up.
Get to what I want.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Florida, south of Tampa is where I saw a skunk ape. My mom and my aunt were talking, so I decided to take a walk as I love nature. Nobody cares about these details. I'm sorry, but they don't. When you're talking
Get
about
to the skunk ape.
yeah,
It
when you're
sets
talking
the
about
picture.
cryptids, you don't give like backstory and details.
a word
Yes.
picture.
I want you to
I-
see
yeah.
my entire life
see
story.
where
I want you to feel what I was
I
feeling.
need to know.
yeah.
I need you to know my mental state in the summer of whatever year this was when I was 12.
Yes, I
Little
had
do
it-
you know, this is actually written to be a song that you're just singing incorrectly.
Black slide bulb.
I was gonna say, I headed for a wooded area. We're gonna do a couple more of these and make our judgments, and then we should wrap it up. I headed for a wooded area. I had to cross a cow pasture to get into the woods. About halfway across the pasture is when I saw this hairy man-like creature standing next to a palmetto bush, just staring at me. That is all I remember because the next thing I know, I'm walking on the street in front of my aunt's house. I never told anyone until years later. Again, why would you not tell anybody?
And-
Can you believe the thing that just happened to me?
Also, just kind of sounds like a creeper.
I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but a lot of
Yeah.
these kind of sound like people went through an experience that they have repressed memories of.
Or something like that. But there are theories that Bigfoot can actually wipe your memories.
Of course he can.
Yes.
Of course he can
Yeah.
wipe your memories.
Part
of the camouflage.
Right. NCS case file number 3. The fun thing about these is that they're a total mystery. Unknown pale white beings in the Midwest.
Okay, this just sounds like
That's just
the
me,
Europeans
honestly. I'm
showing
pretty
up in
pale.
North America
Yeah.
for the first time.
What is this thing?
Yes. They came out and their skin
What is
was
that
pale.
whitey over there?
And their eyes were blue and their hair was as whatever, it was blonde.
Black as night.
Black as night. Large
their deer
wolf-like
had
creature
fangs.
in West Virginia, probably a timber wolf. Pterosaur in India. This sounds fun.
That actually does.
Okay, this happened a few years ago, perhaps 5. My boyfriend and I, oh great, my boyfriend and I were visiting the Ranganathitu bird sanctuary near Mysore in South India.
Now, to really set up the story, let me tell you where we were in our relationship at the time. So,
An absolutely beautiful place where the Kaveri River flows lazily amongst small, heavily forested islets. The trees crowded the nests of painted storks.
paint us the word picture, Gary. I want to see it in my mind.
It
I
was
seen it
here.
in my mind's eye.
It was here. We saw it while gently being rowed around in a small wooden boat. At first, we thought it was a fruit bat. Although they tend to roost during the day, there were still the odd ones flaunting convention, and wheeling around in broad daylight. The first thing we noticed was its size. I know that in India fruit bats are large, very large, but this dwarfed them.
that is quite
This
big.
dwarfed them. We were close with nothing obscuring our vision, probably about 50 meters away over the open water. It was at least 4 times bigger than the large bats, with about a 7 meter, about 20-foot wingspan, and it glided while they flapped. It swooped down to the
That's
water.
not how gliding works, as far as
No,
I'm
no,
aware.
the fruit bats were flapping.
This thing was just
This
like,
thing was just
Oh,
gliding.
okay.
That's
I
what it
was
She
like
was trying to say
they
the
can't
differences.
glide
Yeah, yeah.
with their wings
Yep.
flapping. That defeats the whole purpose
it
of gliding.
swooped down to the water,
Smashing the ground.
and on the wing plucked a 60 to 70 centimeter, about 2-foot fish effortlessly out of the water, carrying it off.
Sounds like a great
thrashing
bird.
in one claw.
Great
Its,
bird.
its body was smooth, not furry, and a mixture of grays, whereas the bats were clearly very dark brown. So basically, this is big winged thing hanging out with the bats, and comes out of nowhere and goes fishing.
I wonder how many albino creatures got considered cryptids before people realized what albinism is.
Possible.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to read some of these titles here because I think they're fun. Large aquatic creature in Lake Ontario.
Fish.
Ontario.
Unnaturally large dark dog in the cornfields of Ohio. Sounds like an Ohio story because there's nothing going
That's
on
a
in
hell
Ohio.
of
Big dog. Big
Yeah,
dog.
I saw a big dog. Must be a cryptid.
I don't know.
Fairies in Western France. That should be like
That doesn't
that
sound
should be a
right.
book.
Just sort
Fairies in
Fairies.
France.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
That sounds
Okay, bipedal deer with dog's legs. Possible shapeshifter.
All right, now hold on.
I'm having more fun just reading these
Let's
titles.
imagine this in
Yeah.
our mind's eyes real quick. All right, so it's a deer that's walking on 2 legs. Now, are the 2 legs the dog legs?
Yes.
Or are
Yes.
the upper
Yes,
legs
no, it's the
dog
dog's legs.
So it's a deer with
Yeah.
dog legs walking around.
the dog deer.
A dog deer walking around. All right.
All right.
So we all have our picture of it.
Forbidden love.
You with me?
A
All right, cool.
gnome-like creature in Mexico.
It's just a short person.
And okay, that's all the stories.
I'm just gonna say the way that all of these stories started sound exactly like the South Park Nessie story.
Oh, yeah.
Where they
Oh,
tell
yeah,
the
yeah,
story
yeah,
and
yeah.
then out of nowhere.
Then I realized the Girl Scout was an 80-foot tall
Yeah.
creature from the Paleozoic era. Goddamn Loch Ness monster.
Oh God.
All right, so that was our last story because I think we are actually fairly well over time.
Actually, we're only at 47.
Boom.
We normally do a half hour or so.
I
Rock
guess.
slide
Yeah.
Voltaire.
I'm gonna say all of these sound like mutations that people just say
Yes.
something else. Because I mean, gigantism, dwarfism, albinism, all of those, if put into the animal world, could make up Bigfoot, gnomes, this weird gray instead of black bat. Like,
Yeah, just
kinda
just
seems-
random mutations. There's a reason you
Yes.
only see it once.
Yeah,
There's a reason
exactly.
why it's not common because it's that one-off mutation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
that makes sense.
wondering. I'm
That makes
wondering
sense.
if two-headed snakes were considered something else.
Right, a
before.
mythological creature for
Yeah.
a long time. Sure.
What if it was considered a hydra? That's where.
Right.
That's where a hydra myth was born. Was someone saw a two-headed snake,
Said it was this big, and the next time they told the story, it was this big. Next time they told the story, it was this big.
or either that, or they saw a two-headed snake and then they left and they brought someone back and they found a three-headed snake somehow, and it's like, oh well, clearly
Well, sure.
it got cut off and
it
grew
grew
two
it up.
heads.
Yeah, that's
like,
what happens.
That's. I mean, that's the only logical answer.
Yeah. So,
So
I also find it interesting that we haven't really added cryptids
yes,
to this list of cryptids in a long time.
that too.
It's been like the same list of cryptids for probably 150, 200
I think it's
years.
actually the cryptids are like crap. Okay, we got to figure out our camouflage for these smartphones.
There's like a meeting. All right, everyone, everybody. Bigfoot, sit down, sit
Yeah.
down, sit down.
We're all
Right.
going to develop a smartphone filter? You mean like the bunny face thing? Like, no, wrong kind of filter.
Oh my gosh!
That was the Jersey Devil. He's like floating there. You mean like the bunny face thing? No.
I love that thing.
You little winged bastard.
You've got Yeti in the background, like taking selfies.
Would you knock it off back there?
Okay, so any more thoughts on cryptids? I think our next episode, we're not going to talk about cryptids because we've talked about it quite a bit lately.
Yep.
I would like to move on to a new topic.
What's the new topic?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
Area 51.
The
Why? Because we got a script.
let's do
Just
Area
finish the script
51.
about
Great.
it.
Next episode, Area 51, and
We're going there.
yeah, I'm gonna
Are
open
aliens
a
a cryptid?
I'm gonna
Let us know in the comments down below.
Don't say no.
If you think.
Maybe we're
Well, it
the
depends
cryptid
on the
alien.
mythology.
Exactly. Well,
there you
I
go.
mean, because there are different species.
They're different species, and
Yeah,
we
but they're
can't
from
prove
a
they
different
exist.
planet.
Exactly, but
That's true.
I mean,
don't know.
what? How does that change the fact that they would just be an alien cryptid?
I feel like we would be a cryptid to them.
Exactly.
Like we were on,
But we would be from a
like-
different planet,
Like the
so-
moon landing, like one of them like popped out of like a crater and was like, "Oh, like no way! I saw these guys. Like they were walking on two legs and they were big white suits, and one of their faces like were shiny.
They could glide.
Yeah, it was really
they
weird.
fell a lot.
They fell
I
a
read
lot.
that, actually.
And then they played
Yeah,
golf.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
They played golf.
There were so many of them just falling because they can't get the gravity.
And for some reason, they left a stick with a piece of cloth
Yeah.
on it. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
We've been studying it for years. It hasn't moved yet.
Okay.
That was weird.
That was weird. Where are we going with this?
I don't know.
In the next
I don't know.
actually, let's. Okay. Final thoughts on cryptids.
I think they're cool. I think it's something that there's a reason we have not gotten new ones.
Yeah, I think some of them are just animals. I think
Yeah.
they're just animals
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we can't categorize yet, like the deer with vampire teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Scary.
it's probably just modern mythological beasts.
Yeah.
You know, because back in the
Right.
day, they were like, there was the Hydra. Like, you know, like one
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
what? No, seriously, I made a etching of it or
Yeah.
a sketch of it on this thing.
I
and
carved
it's all
it out.
blurry for some reason.
Right. Even my drawing was blurry. I couldn't
weird.
figure it
couldn't
out.
do it. Okay, so animals
Yeah.
haven't discovered yet. That's all
much.
they are.
I actually want them to be real. I really want Nessie to be real.
I want them to
I
be
want
real.
all of them to be real.
That'd be cool.
I
Yeah.
honestly feel like probably most of them are real. They're just not
Monsters.
Yeah.
monsters
Yeah.
or anything like that. They're just.
I want to find out that Jersey Devil is like offended by the title, just offended.
I
So you
consider
guys-
myself
you
an
wonder why I
angel.
don't hang out with you guys.
Supposedly, like you can hear the wailing of the Jersey
Yeah.
Devil in the woods at night,
Yeah.
and it's just him like crying.
Yeah.
Everyone's like mean to him.
Yeah.
Like, that's the Jersey Devil. Why did they keep saying
I just
that?
wanted to say hi. And he's like swimming around.
I can't help how I sound. Okay, so that is our episode. That is Cryptid Palooza. Should also be a thing.
Cryptid 2.
Yes. And
Cryptid Con. We're gonna make it. You can
There's
only
probably
cosplay
a-
as Cryptid.
let's.
Probably a Cryptid Con.
I'm sure there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Yeah.
I really want to go.
Actually, I'm pretty sure
With
there
our
is,
I
but
Love
all
the
the
Illuminati
pictures are blurry.
t-shirts.
I can't
Yeah.
tell if
That's
it's
what it
real
is.
or
Yeah,
not.
you can't
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's a cosplay.
Cryptid Con is a myth. We don't know
Cryptid Con.
if it's real or not.
So let us know what you think in the comment section below. Give this video a like, share it, subscribe to the channel if you found this just by happenstance. And yeah, so join us next time when I open Cryptid Park and then they get turned into zombies.
And then we do it 3 more times despite not
Yes,
despite
yes.
it breaking out every
It'll
time.
work this
Remember
time.
when they murdered everybody last time? We got bigger fences.
But then
Bigger
eventually we're
fences.
gonna go, you know what?
Yeah.
We're gonna genetically engineer a new Bigfoot 80 feet tall.
And we're going to give him body armor and a gun.
And actually, we're gonna hire Jeff Goldblum to be our representative. So thank you for watching this video.
See you guys next time.
Don't forget to buy a shirt. Go to our store and buy a shirt. And I love the Illuminati shirt.
You should sit up so they can see the shirt.
Yeah, stand up.
I don't want to break this.
Stand up. Yeah. We love the
That was weird.
Illuminati. See you again next time.
See ya.
Bye.